Hey guys, Andy back from Mediocre Hobbies bringing you another painting video. So over the course of the last couple of months, I have been, of course, expanding out all my different playlists. And one of the ones that got a bit of love was the Dark Angels. We got Azrael done, we got the Lion done, we've got a basic Primaris Warrior done. I think we did a Lieutenant as well. So there's a bunch of videos already in there for the Dark Angels playlist. And a bunch of you guys have been painting along and saying nice comments and all that jazz. But of course, there is still things missing from that playlist that are quite important. And people have pointed it out in comments, such as the Ravenwing and the Deathwing, which of course I didn't realize at the time how important that would be, silly enough. But I'm here to rectify one of those videos here today, and I'm going to show you guys how to paint up a Deathwing Terminator in a nice, quick, easy, and efficient style. I think it turned out pretty well. It's not going to be super quick. The stage of layering up the armor is still going to take a little bit of time, but I think it's worth the time. So before I get into that video, however, I just want to say a huge thank you to all of my active patrons. Without you guys, I would not be able to continue doing what I am doing. If you are interested in getting involved in that, there are links to my Patreon below. There's a bunch of different benefits you get for being a member, such as access to a private Discord server. And my favorite benefit is an extra video every single week. So they get 52 extra videos from me a year at all tiers of Patreon. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Okay, without further ado, let's paint a Terminator. Deathwing Terminators have always been something that is super cool in the Warhammer 40k lore, and this is absolutely no exception. I built this particular guy up on 2 stages of cork. The reason is I wanted to make him a little bit taller and stand at around the same height as the new current beautiful new Leviathan Terminators. As you can see, he's still quite a bit beefier, but I still think when he's painted up they will look well. And they will be at the right height for standing next to Primaris Marines and other bits and pieces in the game. So I'll blend all of the groundwork in with some texture paste later on when I get to the basing stage. I sprayed the model black, and then I sprayed the model with the bone spray, Wraith Bone, which gave me this nice light starting point for getting the miniature painted. We are going to start with Flesh Tear's Red, and don't worry, I am not confused and I'm not painting him as a Flesh Tear. Some of the iconography on the Deathwing are indeed painted up in red. So the angel motif on his right shoulder pad, a section of his gun is done in red as well. The casing of his plasma cannon, decided to give this guy a plasma cannon just to make him a little bit more interesting to paint. And then I believe there's a couple more bits and pieces of detailing on his power fist that should be done in that red color scheme as well. I had a picture pulled up on Google Images of the Deathwing Terminators just so I could pick where all the colors are supposed to go. I jumped in with Basilicanum Grey after this, and there's a couple of other motifs I need to do. So his Crux Terminaz, for instance, and then it's an angel motif on his right leg, left leg, sorry, and right leg actually, which are supposed to be grey as well. Judging by the squad they have painted up on the website, there doesn't seem to be much rhyme or reason as to what's supposed to be red, green, or grey. It's a kind of pick whatever the hell you want. The Crux should be grey, but the other motifs that I painted as a middle model, I guess, could have been red, could have been green. They don't really have a set way of doing it. Creed Camo is used for his chest iconography. Once again, a little bit on his gun, and this particular suit of Terminator armor has another kind of angel Aquila on the top of his head. So I decided to do that in the green color scheme as well. If you guys are curious and want to see me also add a Ravenwing tutorial to this playlist, please let me know in the comments below as well. I do have some of those bikers lying around that I can get done up and added to the playlist. After this, we're going to go to Black Templar, and this is for all of those soft seals between the armor. Now, as a Terminator, there's not a lot of soft seals, pretty much impervious to most attacks. But anywhere where there's joints connecting and something needs to bend, like the knee, there's going to be soft seals behind it. I also decided to kind of break up the color a little bit as well. So those big back vents on them, I did those in black. And any kind of piping work that I found across the model, I usually do piping work in black. Just to kind of break up that main color that most miniatures tend to be. Iron Hand Steel was then brought in, and just basically all the metallic bits on the miniature. So the rest of the plasma cannon, except for the coils, we're going to leave that nice pale color for a contrast later on. And then any other metallic pieces that you can find along the miniature. Now I know at this stage it's not looking very Deathwing-y. It's looking almost more white scars with the color of it. But that's where the trick I use now, which is the Seraphim Sepia shade, which will make all the difference to where this miniature is at now and where it hopes to be at the end of this paint job. So like I said, right here, the armor looks like I'm painting a really nice apothecary maybe. But all we're trying to do is get all the base coats in the right spot. So then we can then go in with the Seraphim Sepia and apply this to all of the miniature. And as you can see, it stains the armor so nicely. It pulls it from that white to that really nice bone color. And I'll tell you what, if I finish this miniature up by applying this shade and highlighting up the green, red, and silver bits of the miniature, and I left the armor this color, I don't think I'd be upset. I think it would look pretty cool. And if you're in a rush to get these miniatures done, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. But I'm going to take a step further and I'm going to layer the miniature up because I think it does look nicer in the end. And for that, I'm going to use Morghast Bone, which is a beautiful paint they brought out not too long ago, to be honest. It's a base paint, so it gives absolutely fantastic coverage. Touch of water into it so it runs a little bit smoother off your brush. And then all I did was took my time and layered up all of the armor panels. And this is the bit I was talking about where this will take a little bit of time. I'm not going to lie, maybe kind of 15 minutes, 20 minutes per miniature on this stage, which doesn't sound like an awful lot, but if you're doing kind of 5 guys, that's an hour and 5 minutes of your time taken up layering a bone, which can seem quite tedious. So I say when you get to this stage, maybe break it down, do kind of 2 models or even 1 model at a time. Save your sanity. And thank God that there's not that many of these miniatures in army. Unless you're running Belial and a full Deathwing army, then God help you. So once the bone has been layered up, I really like where the miniature is at. Love how the armor has turned out. And it was time to move on to layering up all the rest of it. So I went for Mechanicus Standard Grey for all the grey motifs on him. Left knee pad, right shin, and the Crux Terminatus on his shield. I was also at this entire time trying to struggle and resist the urge to weather this thing. I love chipped and damaged Space Marine armor, especially things like Terminators that teleport into literally the middle of the battlefield and get shot from all sides. So I kept reaching for a bit of sponge to add some chipping damage, but I do that with pretty much every single Space Marine video that I do, so you guys might be sick and tired of seeing it. All I know that is when I paint the other 4 of these guys and they're then just finished for my personal collection, I will be chipping the hell out of them. A little bit of Waaagh flesh to highlight that green armor piece in the center of his chest and on his forehead. There's something about this miniature that is a little bit off after I built it, and I don't know whether you guys see it, but it is the fact that his legs seem quite tiny for his body. It looks like I put the wrong top half of miniature on the wrong bottom half, and it's driving me nuts. Okay, Mephiston Red was then used to highlight all of the red motifs, so obviously the rest of the casing of the plasma cannon, the angel on the right shoulder pad, and there's also some other details smattered about the miniature that you're going to have to look for. Well, anyway, it's a very quick and simple and achievable scheme. Spray the miniature, apply some contrast base coats to the special bits, shade it, and then 1 coat of layering on all the different parts of the miniature. And you've got yourself a finished and I think quite striking Deathwing Terminator. Like if I ran a Deathwing army with Belial at my head and they were all painted up to the standard that this guy is, I think I'd be fairly pleased with myself. I think I would definitely be quite proud taking it out on the battlefield. I suppose at some stage I'm going to have to field my line with an appropriate force. So I'm going to have to get some more Dark Angels painted. Although after reading his book and after reading the Cypher book, I'm not sure the Dark Angels are who he wants to be palling around with. Striking Scorpion Green was then just my color of choice for painting all of the plasma coils on the cannon to give him that glowing. Obviously, whatever color plasma you like to do on your miniatures, you can change it if you're doing a plasma cannon. But Dark Angels tend to have green plasma, so I stuck with that. I think it just accents the miniature kind of nicely. So after that, we have our finished Deathwing Terminator. Super happy with the result. And I am going to show you guys a few nice images I took of this guy as well, so you can see what he looks like. And next to the Flesh Tears model. I like to add a little bit of mood lighting to the pictures I took. Just imagine that thing stomping down the corridors of a Space Hulk towards you. I hope you guys liked how he turned out. If you did, please let me know, and let me know of any other videos that you want to see in the near future. And here he is next to the other Terminator, and I think he stands up just perfectly. Okay guys, and there we have it, 1 Deathwing Terminator painted up, ready for the tabletop. I personally own another 9. I need to build the other 4 from this squad and then do 5 Deathwing Knights as well. So I definitely have another heap of these Terminators to build and paint. It is definitely a little bit hard going back to the older sculpt now that I've been working on the Leviathan one so much. I do feel they are just so much better proportionately, if that's the word you can use. So I would be tempted to get a box of the Leviathan Terminators and just keep the kind of torso and legs, and then stick all the Deathwing parts all over those to try and make them kind of beefier and bigger. So I may do that in a future video. If that's something you guys want to see, let me know, and I will scrounge another set of those Terminators and get to work. Thank you guys so much for sticking around at the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like and drop a comment. Those are two things that YouTube looks at over all of the things to see if it wants to share this video with more and more people. So the more likes you give it, the more comments, the more people are going to see my video, and the faster I'll grow. Speaking of growing, about 60% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So it would mean the world if you took 2 seconds of your day and smashed that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for sticking around at the end. I'll see you in the next one.